morning, Political Bias and Alibi. How are you doing, buddies? Still setting up, but in time honoured tradition, I can see you in the chat and I can see some planes moving, so I thought I'm pretty much set up now. So I thought I'll give you what's incoming and outgoing immediately, and then pull it all together to be properly ready for our official start time of 7:30. So I hope you're both keeping really well. Grateful if you could just give me the usual sound check. I finally heard from Wex Photographic, they're now offering me an exchange, which is kind of what they had anyway for my hardware encoder, but I'm still trying to get a agreed date. They're trying to make me change quite quickly, and I don't want to do anything drastic before the weekend, as you might imagine. On the tower for a minute. I'll just check everything is definitely connected. Next out will be a Ryanair 737 to Palermo, and on finals I think we've got a Wizz, quite possibly. Yeah, an incoming Wizz Air from Bucharest. Anyway, let me just quickly check a few bits and pieces. Shoyer's Orbit, good morning to you. I don't think we've met before. I'll do the formal introductions later, of course, but I'm Mark anyway, so pleased to meet you. Good morning, Munich Airbus engineer, sound check, thank you. Shoyer's Orbit, I think Political Bias might have shaded you. We might need, I don't know if we need a photo finish. Oh, hang on, let's just get this Palermo departure for you while I... Anyway, welcome to Plain Sailing Aviation here at Edinburgh. It's gorgeous. Viva Edinburgh. So a nice brisk start, as you can see. Hopefully that will set us fair for the rest of the show. Just going to rest us on the tower. Terry M, good morning to you. Bizlandia, good morning to you. Welcome back. Right, what was I intending to check? $64 million question. Yeah, we all seem to be, thanks Alibi, confirming the incoming Wizz. I better go to it now. So yeah, we all seem to be plugged in. Everything seems to be in the right places. I know you'd expect that from me, but you know, like when you've been travelling for a little bit, you especially with an early-ish start, you kind of, your mind drifts a bit, listening to the tunes on the radio. And just had myself a flat white at McDonald's, put a bit of caffeine in the old system. I think the birds here are striking up a better tune than they were at Newcastle on Saturday. Wasn't too shabby. Now I can see the British Airways Embraer 190 lining up. But I'll just drop back into the chat. Alexis Calderon, hello Alexis. I know we've met before in the chat, from Colombia. Welcome to Plain Sailing Aviation. Yeah, how you doing, Alibi? Where did the weekend go, eh? Hope those pizzas went down a treat Saturday night. I did spare you a thought when I got back home, actually, because it was a lovely evening in my part of the world. I thought, oh, do you know what? Sitting out with a pizza, especially one that you've done yourself. I mean, you know, excellent. The irony was Sunday in my part of the world. I don't know about how it was around Edinburgh, Alibi, but as political bias will attest, it wasn't much to write home about on Sunday. Summer might be on hold for a little bit longer, although it's clearly arrived here. Spotted something I've not done. I always tape my HDMI cable on. Just bear with me, folks, while I write that wrong. Obviously, with the panning of the camera, the actual connection on the camera itself is not that substantial and it doesn't clip or anything, so the risk is once you've panned 30-40 times it gradually teases its way out, which clearly we don't want any of that. Drama-free broadcasting. Well, certainly no drama from the technical side of things. I'll just leave you on this Wizz Air for a couple of seconds, give you a look at something colourful, and then I'm just going to pan to the right and check I've got the right loop of cable, just to cover off the panning to the maximum extreme. So Monday again already, new week. There we go. That's good. And now we'll go to the left. Swing to the left, swing to the right. Up and down, shake the trees. Yeah. All good. Let's restore. Dib 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 says, yeah, just there will do. Political bias. I was supposed to hit the road at 4:30, having got up at 3:30 and thinking I got everything nicely laid out. A bit behind yesterday for all kinds of reasons. It's one of those days that Sunday got away from me for several reasons. But anyway, long story short, I thought should be able to have it all together in the car. Managed to get off for about 20 to 5. Journey up here absolutely exemplary. Didn't get stuck behind any slow moving trucks or any of those other perennial bits that you always find on the single carriageway. So no, it's been pretty good. Of course, I'm pretty excited about the next leg of the journey. As I've said before in community posts and probably on air as well, I've not been north of Edinburgh before, I don't think. I'll tell you what, the conditions here are so good. I can see the first one coming in, the Ryanair 73 from Dublin. I can see the next one as well further out, which is nice. I think we'll do the forecast in a bit. I was putting it together last night, but when I was having my Weetabix and pot of tea this morning, maybe it's a pot of tea that's the reason I didn't quite get out the door, because I like to have 4 cups out the pot, creature of habit me. But the weather forecast, I had a quick look see and looked better here, certainly warmer on temperatures. Bit of a risk of showers for us in Aberdeen. Hopefully finished though by the time we get there. So this plane taking off only 42 minutes or thereabouts. Okay. Not dissimilar really to our flight time when I've travelled this plane to Dublin. I think the published time's about 50 minutes or something, but I think we've been back in 40 something minutes on one of those trips. Huh. I tell you what, it must be Dublin Central. Oh dear. I think we've got an Aer Lingus coming in next. I just had a bit, sorry Ali, but I'm cutting into your turf. I just couldn't resist seeing what the plane behind the plane was. I think when I last looked, the United Airlines New York Newark flight was running a bit late. That's the one that we scheduled in about 8:05. My first sense is always, is it going to come in early? Which is always another good reason to start the show up a bit sooner. Mad Matt, how you doing, buddy? See, I've remembered. For all my inconsistencies, I can occasionally hit on a vein of consistency. How you doing, Matt? Oh, I didn't think I was late. I stand to be corrected. I thought I was slightly early. Although I was late leaving home, as I was saying earlier on. But it's one of those journeys, if everything runs for you, you generally gain about 15 minutes, thereabouts. And on a day like today, when you're travelling up by the coast, it's lovely. As Alibi will know, being more of his parish. So we'll peel off this Corfu bound 737 imminently, as we then pick up the Aer Lingus A320. I'm so excited about, I'm excited about being here, folks, so you're just going to have to restrain me from getting too hyperactive. But I love being at Edinburgh. Plane wise, I see it as second home territory, I really do. It's just great, and of course with prevailing westerly winds, we're back to standard ops on runway 24, which means we get these lovely views and the Pentland Hills in the background, which is a bit easier on the eye than 06s, as folks will know. It's not quite as lovely the other side of the airport terminal. I mean, just panning back to the tower. I mean, look. I mean, veterans of the show, and indeed this airport will know, it's just a gorgeous setting. Thanks, political bias. The journey just whizzes past, I'll be honest. I don't like travel for the sake of travel. Who does? As in, you know, car journeys can be quite tedious, can't they? But in reality, I do think this is actually quite a good drive, as long as you're not driving in driving rain or snow or something like that. It's nice on the eye. I think Eddie and I, thinking back, we did some filming down at Heathrow last summer, and Eddie volunteered to drive and do it all in one go. We stopped by my mum and dad's in Leicestershire for a cup of tea and a biscuit en route. But we completed the whole journey in one go, and whereas it was very doable with brakes, it were blinking tiring, and a lot of the journey is just trundling down a motorway, not much to stimulate you. So it's just quite a blessing, it really is. Yeah, I can imagine, PB. I can imagine. I think if I was doing a whole show from Aberdeen, I would have elected for the train. I think that for the time involved, and of course when you're driving the car, you're turning the wheel, pushing the pedals and all the rest of it. On the train you can take it in, can't you? And I know as you go up through certainly up through Northumberland, never mind much beyond, there's some great coastal aspects. And of course you're going to go over, I guess it's the fourth rail bridge along the way, which, if I'm right with that perception, must be absolutely stunning. I keep threatening to take some time to go that way just to take some pictures and you know, see the scenery and just see it eyes on. So yeah, if we do something that is a bit more Aberdeeny, shall we say, I think I'd definitely go on the train. I think that's the percentage play. Mad Matt, your expression of interest is cheerfully noted, my friend. As you'll be unsurprised, we're trying to keep the team at a certain size, so we're not currently recruiting, but you know, you've already established yourself as a great friend in the chat, so I'll not forget that. I'll make a note of that, my friend. At the minute we try to keep things roughly in proportion with the action. The only thing I always say to anybody that is looking to enter the modosphere, there's two things really. We prefer on this channel mods that are exclusive to us, because our channel identity is shaped by the people we have. And the other thing is, before we get into blue spanner territory, as you do with the weather forecasts and whatever, but pitching in to help the on-duty mods with things like flight radar, either ins or outs, they'll share with you what they want to share. It's that kind of thing that just sort of helps a little bit as well. But yeah, cheerfully noted, my friend, and we're quite honoured actually that you've expressed an interest. In fact, talking of weather, I can see you've posted. Let's have a look. Tell you what, ceiling visibility, I think it's got to be better than okay. It's absolutely divine. I think the good thing here as well, just sticking in on the weather, this Corfu 737 looks like it's going to be holding for the next arrival, although that's some distance out. Where was I going with this one? I've forgotten. Anyway, by the by, temperature 8 degrees. Yeah, it probably is at the minute, but I think the sun is probably giving a higher feels like temperature. You know, usually the feels like temperature is always a bit lower. Oh, I know where I was going with this. As you'll know from Newcastle on Saturday would be a great example, and you see it on other streamers along Gatwick and places like that. If you're shooting down the runway on a hot sunny day, or even a very sunny day, at the far end to some extent you're going to get hazing. It affects video as it does stills, and I think the beauty of the spot we've got here is that we're part way down the runway, so we're not having to do too much in one shot, which is great. Chat. Alibi confirming we've got an Aer Lingus ATR 72 from Belfast on finals. I was trying to work out what it was. It just now looks like an ATR, but before that I hadn't quite got the shape. Nice one, my friend. Oh well, Matt, good thing that you're enjoying your time with us. So like I say, definitely got you on my list, my friend, and I'm glad that we're actually able to socialise with you through this. It's great, mate. More on retirement in a minute actually. Or through anyway. Here we come. See, what we'll do is we will get our incoming Belfast Aer Lingus flight down on the deck, and then we'll properly open the show, just in case there's people in the lounge at the minute who might be first timers to the channel, not quite sure how we roll and all that. Yeah, retired, so I know exactly where you're coming from. So at the minute you've got tons of time on your hands, and I'll be honest with you, that was one of the attractions to live streaming for yours truly, because retired at Christmas, and I enjoy aviation live streams anyway, and I enjoy plane spotting, and I kind of got caught in that line of logic that says, well, I quite fancy going and doing some spotting around at different airports. And then you kind of then go once, I think it was Eddie actually who joined the logic up for me, if I'm going to be really candid. I don't think I'd seen it quite as clearly as he did. He said, well, if you're going to do that, Dad, why don't you look at live streaming? Then you get the best of both worlds. Plus, and I think it's a fair thing to say for people who not just on this channel, but I know there'll be others who are in the chat or in the lounge who will enjoy the other channels. There is something very social about it, isn't it? Isn't there, being able to watch planes with like-minded people, and you know, the friendliness that goes with it is, well, I found it incredibly rewarding, and I hope other people get enjoyment enough out of what we bring. Okay, let's open up properly. Let's just see if I'm missing anything. Oh, hang on a minute, let's not open the show just yet. I'm just looking at Mad Matt's Leicestershire. Used to marshal the bikes at Mallory back in the day. What was your era, Matt? Because as a kid growing up in the 70s and then sort of starting work in the early 80s, I suppose, I was very much in that era. Barry Sheen, I think my first meet there was the race of the year 1977. Anyway, hooked at that point. I mean, I've sort of fallen out of love with it since, sadly. I think there was some pretty charismatic people around the sport, certainly in the day, although sadly too many riders used to lose their lives if you look back on it. But yeah, loved it. Used to go there, Donington Park, Silverstone. My friend across the road, sadly deceased now, as is his dad actually. His dad used to take us to all of those places. Fantastic bloke, driving no object. Ah, good, Mad Matt. That is exactly what we're striving for. Not an easy balance to achieve, but anyway, I suppose I better get into the show. Let's have a look where we are. So, good morning and a very warm welcome from Edinburgh. As you'll see from the images on your screen with the Pentland Hills in the background, we're blessed with sunshine. I think it might become a bit cloudier as the day progresses, but today's show, because we're onwards to Aberdeen, is going to finish bang on 11 o'clock. In fact, actually, if we can get away 5 or 10 minutes earlier because there isn't an imminent movement, we'll finish slightly ahead if that falls that way. Get me on the road if that's okay with people. So as I say, here till 11, and then just notes for diaries for those who are interested. I'll just get this ATR as it's zooming along, and I hope you all are. We are back on air from 3 at Aberdeen. I know where I think I'm going to stand there, and I know where I think I'm going to park the car, but they're the kind of practical dots that you're just going to have to, I'm just going to have to sort of hope fall into place without losing too much time. But so yeah, an exciting day, a double header, Scottish double header, which is excellent. So looking into the chat, I think we've done most of the good mornings, but particular thanks and appreciation as we start out. Alibi 58, one of our moderator team, doing the early stint today. Awesome stuff. And I can see from, so my tablet is usually a bit sticky in terms of keeping up with what's happening, but it has the advantage of being, as you would expect, very portable and quite robust with the rough handling it gets from me. But you can see there's quite a few now joining. Right, so bright starts. Now this is last night's weather forecast, so Mad Matt is actually more correct when he talks about 8 degrees. I think that was pretty much what my car thermometer said when I pulled in. So last night they were forecasting 3 degrees at start, rising to 10 by end of show. Certainly we're well north of that at the minute and may continue. So west northwesterly, so we are runway 24 back to 24 ops, so the planes will be coming in over the Firth of Forth, which is nice because we can get a nice sight of them lining up. Some transatlantic action today in the form of 3 United Airlines 757s. Where are we talking? We are talking New York, Washington and Chicago. They will all, fingers crossed, arrive during the show. And since we were last here, Delta Airlines have introduced a second route, so we'll also get 2 767 arrivals during the course of the show, with their Boston route augmenting the New York one. Winds, it's 10 mile an hour they say, rising, well, at about 8.7 knots for those who like it in knots. Having a quick look at the windsock, because you know I'm quite prone to doing. Feels about right, don't it? I think that's probably about spot on. Gusts at 17 mile an hour, 14.8 knots. Can't say as I've really felt any sense of gusts yet. Let's just see. Either which way, we're not expecting wind to be a factor in today's show, so we're not going to be seeing any crabbing type activity. Last night it said a 10% chance of rain. There's no question. When I looked this morning, I think it said less than 5%, and yeah, I think that's the territory we're in, so we're set fair. 64 movements for today's show, which this is the scripted stuff last night, so I think we've gained a couple of bizjet movements, so we'll be north of that hopefully. I didn't see any cancellations. That split for that is 36 arrivals, 29 departures. Airlines on show: British Airways, KLM, Logan Air, we're going to see plenty of them later, I wager, Norwegian, Turkish Airlines. As is customary, the 777 possibility that existed last night has converted into an A321, but we will see that during the show. Aer Lingus, and Jet2, Ryanair's, EasyJets, and probably more. I was a bit rushed when I was scooting through this. Let's have a look. Oh, hang on a minute. And there's more. And there's more. So, where do we get to? Members poll for tomorrow. It looks to me like when I looked at when I was eating my Weetabix this morning, we were 67% in favour of a return here, so that's looking like the way we're going to go. 15 votes cast. What we will do though is I'll look to move the start time on a bit to something a little bit more sociable, and also to make sure we catch the Dreamliner at the back end of the show. So we'll alter the thumbnail. Obviously it'll end up, if the result stays as it is, with an Edinburgh picture on it, and the start time we will probably do something, I don't know, around 9:30. We'll try and make it work so that we're not missing a movement that will be interesting to you all. That's what we're here for, isn't it? The oh, that's a question actually. If Alibi, let us know, mate. Oh crikey, what's happened here? My tablet has frozen again, so I'm just running blind momentarily. So the members poll on emojis, it was looking relatively close when I looked this morning. 22 votes cast. Option 2, chopper time, seemed to be out front at 41%, and I think the next best was 31 or something in that region. Now Eddie will have departed for work, so my thinking is Eddie will have taken the result as he looked at the screen. But Alibi, just confirm for me, mate, is that chopper emoji actually on the emoji suite? Because I've not got any messaging at all from Eddie on that. Well, I'll see if I can get my chat back. Ah, and we're back. Right. So Matt started at Coldwell, never been Coldwell. 97, retired 2012. I used to love the bike scene. I mean, I've never had any big bikes of my own, if I'm honest. It was just the Barry Sheen, Kenny Roberts rivalry, Pat Hennon, and some absolutely class street racers like your Tom Herons of this world, sadly deceased. But good times anyway. Islandia, you've got a tax return to post tomorrow. Oh my lord. Yeah, you're not the only one. I actually had to complete and don't laugh for those of you who do this routinely, but I had to complete a self-assessment return for the first time for the last tax year. Even though I was pay as you earn before I retired. I don't know how I got lucky with that one, but what a faffle. And then when you want to ring anyone up, no disrespect to anyone that's on the show who works for Inland Revenue, trying to get through to somebody who can then answer a question. So yeah, if it's Islandia, I entirely understand. And yes, you are right, political bias. You were in first. You man after me own heart, actually. I think I put in the community first, didn't I? First three in last time. First three non-mods, that is. The mods are always pretty swift on this show, but yeah. Okay. Deborah Speller, good morning Deborah, how are you doing? Cadge Corp, good morning to you as well. I hope you're both having a great start to the new week. As always, where did the weekend go? Political bias, pleasure and thank you for showing up early doors as you have. Hope to catch you later. Whatever you do, have a good day my friend. We seem to have hit a momentary pause here, but either which way, have a good one mate, and like I say, hope to catch you in a bit. Bislandia, yes I did file online, but it's complicated. Well, it seemed to be complicated to set up. I guess now I've done one they're going to make me do more, because somebody told me that once you fall into their net for self-assessment they just knock it out routinely thereafter. So eventually I did. You have to get set up on, is it like the government data gateway, or I can't think what it's called now off the top of my head. And actually there was a couple of questions I had about a couple of bits completing that, which is really how I discovered that contacting the office wasn't, you know, the tax office wasn't as easy as you might imagine. But once I'd kind of gone through it I thought, yeah, it's not too bad. I think probably the read across for that is anyone on the chat that has done their passport renewal. I don't know about a first time application to be honest, but done a passport renewal online. Myself and Mrs. Plain Sailing Aviation did ours, what, 2-3 years ago? I don't know, I've lost track of time now. And I thought that would be a faffle, and I'll tell you what, it was better than doing the paper. It really was. Of course, that might not be true if you're actually applying for a brand new passport from the get-go, or maybe you can't even do that electronically as a first one. I don't know. Islandia, I'm definitely not a genius, and if Mrs. Plain Sailing Aviation was in the chat she'd say if you'd seen the veins popping out his head you'd think, you know, because I did think to myself I'm probably going to have to default to paper. But you know what I feared about paper? I feared putting it in and them either saying they've not received it, or then deciding there's something they don't like about the paper, and somehow it all contributing to me being treated as having filed late. Because at the end of the day, I think, whether this is true or not, but my perception is they are pretty liberal with issuing those 200 quid they charge you for initially filing late, and then if you think you've got a bona fide reason you can then try to appeal it, but you know, why get into that space? Oh, alibi, sorry, only 2 options, sorry mate, 2 options as in, are we talking emojis? Because there should be more than 2. I'm now a bit confused. Probably because Vislandia suggested I might be a genius in relation to tax returns. Don't think I've ever been called a genius. Oh dearie me. Right, chopper time in the lead with 41%, so that looks as it was this morning then. I wonder if he's letting the pole run a little bit longer. We're going to make it available from lunchtime. Right, there must be some planes about. We don't normally get a gap like this around 8 o'clock. I mean, we normally be looking out for the United Airlines New York flight. So bleeping on the deck we have a Ryanair Belfast flight. Now where is that? Because I'm just having a look-see. Right, I think it may well be that one. But I can see stairs there, I think, albeit door closed, so it looks like that might be our baby. Might be. There's another Ryanair plane I can see at the other end of the terminal, and I've not quite transposed which is which because I'm like the opposite side of the runway. I will get there, trust me. Thank you, Ali. Bye. United Airlines, they made a little bit of time up then. I think they were potentially running a bit further behind, so all looking good, albeit slightly slow. Anyway, I hope everybody is doing well. I tell you what I didn't do last night, because something else bedeviled me. A technical gremlin unconnected with the stream. I was going to look up the Edinburgh passenger numbers and the Aberdeen ones. In fact, I think I might have done that. No, I didn't. It was Aberdeen I was after, weren't it? Because we haven't done Aberdeen before. Deary me. Paul Usher, good morning, Paul. I hope you are well, and Monday's off to a good start for you. Welcome to the show. So for anybody who is wondering who's doing all the talking at this end and hasn't met me before, I'm Mark, Plain Sailing Aviation, so welcome to the show. Going to be on air here at Edinburgh, slightly becalmed at the minute, but that will change pretty imminently. And we're on air till 11 o'clock before we then move the show from here up to Edinburgh. I'm in Edinburgh, Aberdeen. Oh dear. And I'm pretty stoked about that one, I think, as the saying goes. Whether we get a lot of helicopters or a few, I mean, obviously it's a large heliport there, but in terms of the movements you get, I'm told certain days of the week are probably a bit more favourable than others. But from a show point of view, I wanted to make sure we got a decent number of planes, so that's why we took the tea time option for there. Let's just move the camera around, give anyone that's unfamiliar with Edinburgh a better look. So yeah, scenic Pentland Hills in the background. Ooh, blimey, that's me kicking the tripod for the first time today. River Almond in the background. I'm told there's otters in here. In fact, some people spotted an otter, I think, the last but one time I was here. We have the freight park over there, so quite a few West Atlantic planes of various sorts. Where are you, Michelle? We're looking at all this freight, although it's not moving. So West Atlantic, I know DHL operate regularly from here. Another Ryanair stuck on the left hand side of the terminal building, and then as we just take a very slow pan across, it's not the loveliest of terminals, but then again everything's a kind of creature of when it's built, isn't it? It certainly is, I think it's a good view. Let's just say that if you view it from the 06 side, it's pretty urban sprawly. The iconic Edinburgh Control Tower, and if we move on down, there's the fire training fuselage and a couple of fire tenders in the foreground. So I don't know whether they're planning to do any kind of training today. Periodically you do see that, keeping their skills sharp. Anyway, I've just spotted our departing, I said Belfast or Dublin, I think I said Belfast in time. So we're back up again anyway. Belfast, yeah. Yeah, can't complain, Paul Usher, can't complain. Always puts a spring in my step when I'm able to watch the planes, and to be honest, like all of us, a bit of sunny weather just lights the soul up a bit, to be honest. I was thinking about this coming up the blooming A1, about, you know, this moment we're in now, spring. We're not even into summer yet, are we? Although we're getting close to, you know, that June onwards period. But thinking about what a difference it is spotting and streaming in decent weather compared with finger-numbing coldness that you have for quite a lot of the year, and you really got to fill your boots, haven't you? Definitely today we're filling ours. I can see another Ryanair transponding, so let's just shit. yeah, the second one's off to Wheeze, or Wheeze I think. So I'm going to see two. This one off to Belfast. Look at the scenery. I wonder if we'll catch a train in the background. It's one of the features of operating at the 24 end of the runway. You've got a lot of, so you're doing a runway check in the background. You'll probably see the ops vehicle overtake the plane. I think we're at the point now where if there's a train, you'll probably get to see it. We're pretty close to that point. Look how green and lush everything is. Jonathan Martin, good morning to you, sir. There you are, there's your ops truck zooming on by. I'll tell you what, it must be one of the bits that's pretty enjoyable being on the team. You know, the ability to, I suppose you still have to observe this, whatever the ground regs are for vehicles, but just tazzing it down the runway, dragster style. Probably less likely to do that during daytime hours. You know, it's like most industries when you've got more managers on duty. But I can't believe at night time it's not tempting to optimise speed to the maximum. Mad Matt off to the shop for some milk. Yeah, that was my story, weren't it? Saturday. Happily I remembered to get the milk on the way back. Forget a lot of things these days, but wasn't really much on a brew with no milk in it. So, plane's holding at the minute. Nothing's immediately coming in. Anyway, how are you, Jonathan Martin? How's Monday treating you? Just watching our United Airlines Chicago flight that was due in at 8:25. It's taking the scenic route to lining up. I'm sure Alibi's probably looking at as well at the minute. So it looks like the Chicago flight will beat the New York one in, and it looks like in the meantime Belfast is moving. So here we go, folks. There's your train. How the train today stream by here, but it's obviously a mainline service of different flavours. Just make a lovely shot to see the train zooming by in the background. Tell you what I am going to have to ask folks, so keep me straight on the money when it comes to finishing at 11 o'clock. I've got this terror, you know, that I'll be thinking, hang on a minute, it's 11 or 12 o'clock or something. You'd never hear the last of it. Eddie would tell you that is a real risk. So one of the other things as well is a feature from filming this side. There's a mobile mast behind me which sometimes causes electronic, or often causes a low level electronic, like a warble. Now I'm having to change my hardware at the minute. I'm just soldering on, so I can't actually hear my own outputs. But if you let me know in the chat if the warble is becoming too annoying, I just disconnect the shotgun mic. It's just too good for itself. So actually what it does is it picks up well, picks up sound I can't even hear. Okay, Alibi, thanks mate. I'm going to take the mic. Now this, I've just disconnected that, so I'm guessing you're going to tell me the buzzing has stopped, hopefully. Obviously that might reduce my sound output, so we're just going to have to, excuse the pun,
play it by ear. Thanks for that, buddy. Ollie MB, hello my friend, welcome back to Plain Sailing Aviation. Hope you're doing well, mate. Yeah, Jonathan, it's that, sorry, I've just seen your comment, it is that warble. It just occurred to me, I haven't checked with people, so thank you for that. You shouldn't get the warble now. Someone's going to tell me it's still there. I know, I can feel it, but in previously, disconnecting the shotgun mic tends to do the business. We're just got to work out what the trade with that is in terms of audio output. Took a while to work out that's exactly where it was coming from, but yeah, if I shoot from the other side of the airfield I don't get it, and I don't get that sound anywhere else actually. So I've got visual now on the incoming United Airlines Chicago flight. We'll cut to that shortly. Jonathan Martin, you're giving your age away. Sinclair Spectrum. Yeah, I used to have a Vic 20, I'm giving mine away even more, not as good as the Spectrum like. If I remember correctly, the bog standard for that, just going off at a tangent, 3.5k or something like, you know, when you bought it out the box, if you didn't buy expansion or anything. I kind of smile, you think about the huge data processing speeds that we use today, and I don't know, 3.5k is barely believable, is it? Ollie, yes, the calm before the storm. Although we could, not so much the storm, hopefully. Oh, Jonathan says it's better, so that is good. And Paul Usher kindly confirms you can still hear me, so I think we'll live with it this way and see how we fly. Sometimes if I reconnect the shotgun mic, as long as I don't point it too near the direction of the tower, it doesn't lock onto the sound, but once it's found it, the only way of shaking it off is to disconnect. So this plane off to, did we say Wheeze? I think we did, didn't we? And United's one of 3 United planes you're going to get to see in the show, folks, inbound. So very quickly, good morning, because I see the numbers are still ticking up. Anyone that's recently joined the show, I'm Mark from Plain Sailing Aviation. Welcome. We're going to be on air till about 11 o'clock, or exactly 11 o'clock. As always, if you like what you see, please do hit the like button, because it helps us with YouTube, doesn't cost you anything. And if you're not yet subscribed, we'd love to have you with us. And again, it won't cost you anything. So it's kind of win-win, really. Anyway, let's give you some 75200 action. I do love these planes. Although regulars when I'm a bit fickle, I'm generally a plane of the day person for the 75s when I see them, and when the Delta 76300s come in, because that'll be the most recent plane I've seen, I tend to sort of pivot that way. Well, actually, I called that wrong, didn't I? British Airways, what one about? Sorry, Alibi. Sorry, everybody. I was looking, I must have clicked on the wrong plane on my flight radar. There you go. Yeah, this will be a British Airways A321 in from London Heathrow. I do now remember seeing it, so the plane behind it has to be that one. I think as soon as the British Airways plane vacates, though, I think the 73 is going to get its shot. So let's just look at the sun gleaming off that fuselage. Exactly that, Deborah Speller. There's none of this sort of plug and play stuff, was there, back in those days? And if you think about the games, I'm thinking about my very first computer game, which was one of those ones, you know, with like the football, table tennis, were basically some dash type lines that moved up and down. Blip, blip, blip. You know, the kind of thing. And yet it was the greatest thing since sliced bread, weren't it, at the time? From the Vic 20, I remember getting that as gargantuan box starter pack. More on that in a minute. Wasn't much of a gap here. So here's our United plane. Yeah, go back to the Vic 20 and the starter pack thing. I was off work as a young apprentice, had a couple of days ill, and was feeling pretty ropey actually. Had some dental work which was pretty uncomfortable. Anyway, cut long story short, took myself into town and bought myself a Vic 20 starter pack. Princely sum of about, I think about 150 quid. But did I think I was at the centre of the technological revolution with my own personal computer? And as Jonathan Martin was saying, I mean, you know, use of a cassette tape to store on, just because you're kind of talking pre-floppy disk, weren't you, at that point, or certainly with the cassette. Rainer, just spotted your entry into the chat, mate. I hope you are well. It's bound to be sunny in Berlin. I'm starting to think now that you have better weather there than Doris does in Nicosia. Either which way, welcome. Alibi confirms EasyJet from Bristol on finals. I will... oh, I can see it now. There you go. And hopefully we'll get to sneak a closer look at the United 757. I'm going to stay with this 321 just because it looks nice in the sun. And then we'll go to the EasyJet. Carl Shield, good morning. All tickety-boo at this end. I hope you are having a great day. Right, let's pull her back. Tell you what, the optics are lovely this morning. As much as I enjoyed my time at Newcastle on Saturday, the frustration was the degree of hazing. I was talking to a lad that shoots stills afterwards, and he was obviously having the same problem. Sneak a bit of a peek, aren't we? There's a Ryanair outbound I can see out my quarter vision, but look at this. Recently resumed, I think it's a resumption of the Chicago service, summer timetable. More learned friends who know the Edinburgh scene better might say no, it's a newie, but I think it is just a resumed route. Ooh, turning off in front of us too, we are spoiled. The West Spotter, good morning to you. Hope all is good with you. Yeah, I think Edinburgh's incredible. The only thing I'd like it to be is 50 miles nearer to home. I live down in Northumberland. But yeah, it's always puts a spring in my step. So we'll peel off in a second for the departing Ryanair flight. Not a second too soon, though, isn't it? Foreground shot as well with United. Alibi, thank you for confirming. We've got a British Airways Embraer 190 standard on finals from London City. So let's pick it up now while the visibility is so crisp. So welcome to folks still joining the show. I'm Mark, your host. Monday, a new week and all that. Hope you've got a decent week planned, and if you've not, hopefully we'll give you a bit of escapism along the way to take your mind off the bits that are less good in the week. I can see ATR beetling out. Jonathan Martin, I don't know how many likes I've got to the show so far because my clock's frozen on 15, so if anyone wants to update me. DB Bassman, welcome back DB. I hope you are enjoying Monday. Apologies if I've missed anybody, by the way, so far. I try really hard not to. I've seen Ryan's comment, 43, so cracking start, bearing down on the 50, which is a great milestone. As always, does help us massively with YouTube. I'm just going to pull us around onto the ATR 72, that the Aer Lingus flight to Belfast. Looking nice and crisp in this spring sunshine. Still say spring, can't we? Maybe a little bit of an ATR convention with the Loganair arrival. ATR 42 incoming, 42-500 from Kirkwall. See a bit more Loganair action when we get to Aberdeen, including my highly favoured Saab 340, due to go out of service next month. I think, or start to be phased out of service with Loganair. Anyway, here we go. Hold on tight. It was a bit of a treat on Saturday's show at Newcastle actually to get an ATR 72 in Loganair colours, which must have been a recent acquisition, I'm thinking. There we go, first plane of the day from Scotland's finest. Good morning, soldier. How are you doing? Don't think I've seen you in the chat before, so I'm Mark. Pleasure to meet you, my friend. Welcome to Plain Sailing Aviation. As we watch this outgoing Aer Lingus ATR 72 off to Belfast. Nice and early. Love it when you do that. I mean, you don't need to go long, do you? And let's have a look very quickly, because I can see the KLM Amsterdam flight inbound. Having departed about now, and crikey, much more inbound than I thought. Can't take your eye off KLM for a minute. Departed around 1 hour 10 minutes ago from Amsterdam. And as I say every show, one of my favourite liveries, that smiley face dolphin. Tell you what, just going back one, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can. Smoke's still hanging off those tyres. Don't often see that. Maggie Lee, good morning to you, Maggie. Look, the smoke's still hanging around. It's a proper fog. Oh, Maggie with the emojis. Oh, and I see our new helicopter emoji as well in the suite. Excellent stuff. So, for those who don't know, the helicopter emoji is something that we put to a membership poll yesterday. Sorry about the short notice, but it was a couple of good suggestions that we had from Mad Matt and Alexandra Wood around a helicopter emoji for our show at Aberdeen this afternoon. Fingers crossed we actually get some helicopters. Yes, it's Eddie was telling me this morning, I think we're closing in on being able to, it's all determined by how many members you have. Long story short, I think we're on the cusp of qualifying for an additional emoji into the suite rather than a swap out, which is excellent. Definitely makes it more fun with a better repertoire, and as I was saying, I think on Saturday's show, or if not that one before, what we'll do with that, again, we'll put it to members for what kind of emojis would you like Eddie to work up, and then he'll work up 2 or 3 options and we'll put them to a poll. You know, it is your channel after all as a member, so we'll make sure that you're front and centre of the selection process. I stay out of the polls as well, just for the avoidance of doubt, so I let Eddie get on with the arty stuff, and we just let it go with the members. Seems the best way of doing it. I don't really get consulted that much on home decor, so the idea of, other than actually the painting of it, but in terms of style, I think I'm probably a bit challenged, so it's right that you good people function as a style council. I'm guessing that's the Bucharest outgoer. Give Wizz their due. What time is it now? I think we opened with them, didn't we? So they've turned that one round inside the hour, which for a low cost is not exceptional, is it? But nevertheless. Rainer, you are such a gentleman, my friend, and a great friend and supporter of the show. So I'm just going to quickly, bear with me, if I sound muffled, it's because I'm busy collecting myself. Rainer, thank you, buddy. Awesome support, and like I say, you're a great friend to the channel, and it really is appreciated. And it's a cracking start to the week, you're right, mate. Oops. Just lagging a bit on it. Chemical gases, good hello to you. I've just spotted you in the chat. So let's get our Delta arrival. I think this is our Delta arrival. I've only snatched a quick glance at the screen. If it is, it's the Boston plane. Having departed 5 hours 50 minutes ago. So this is the new service, isn't it, that started, was it last week it started? It wasn't on when we were here for the bank holiday, was it? And if you like that, folks, we've got another one to come from New York. I'm not sure if we picked up a departure during the show time. I must confess, I didn't get my homework into that space. Unusually for me, to be fair. But, so let's just pull back for the Wizz Air departure. I think we'll probably have another half a minute or so, because I'm guessing the plane's going to run long, the 76. Check it out, Ryan, with Mad Matt giving the helicopter a twirl. Yeah, DB Bassman, it's good now that we've still got the WestJet and Air Canada services which resume. I know Air Canada is early June, something like the 2nd of June, and I was in chat saying to Les Donaldson, we were wondering, we got the feeling that WestJet starts this week. We were kind of hoping it was going to feature in tomorrow's show, if we show from here, which looks like that's the members' will. But I had a quick look yesterday, couldn't see WestJet, so... Nobody's on finals. It gives us a chance to just appreciate this beauty. I think it's difficult to call plane of the day when we've still got Aberdeen in our pockets, because that might throw something quirky up, but plane of the show, I'm all in the Delta 767 at this exact moment in time. Till I change my mind. So as always, folks, if you like what you see, please do hit the like button. Helps us massively as a channel. With YouTube, the same with subscriptions. If you're not yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Neither cost you anything. And of course, if you are already subscribed with us or have hit the like button this morning, thank you very, very much. And whether you do or you don't, you have taken the time to watch our show this morning, so thank you for that too. Definitely a lot of appreciation down here at the airport. Obviously the 76 seems to be the favoured aircraft by Delta for this route. It'd be nicer if they threw us a bone and gave us the A330, wouldn't it? Oh, I thought that was Turkish Airlines this morning when I was looking to see if that 777 that was potentially listed materialised, but as is always the case, no. Oh, it looks like Dublin. We have the outgoing Dublin. One for you, Carl Shield. A320, just lining up. Somebody on finals as well, I'll get to that in a minute. Right, let's rest up, give you the train in the background. I think. There we go. Ooh, just looking at Alibai's comment. United Airlines 757 from New York on final. So this is the plane that normally comes in around 8 o'clock. So pleasure deferred and all that. Magic. So the transatlantic planes all starting to come home. We'll have another United Airlines a bit later in the show, usually about 20 past 10 I think it is, the Washington incomer. It's starting to get a bit hazier now at the far end. Temperature still warming up. It's kind of the perfect weather. It's not just perfect for plane spotting, but if you were going to take a dog out for a walk, it's that kind of weather. Although don't be thinking about doing that, folks. I'd rather have you with me. Let your dog chill out to plain sailing aviation. Languish here and pick it up for its return up the taxiway. Yeah, Alibi, I've just noticed the interchange between yourselves and Mad Matt. We'll have to live with them as they are because it's kind of outside my skill set to do much with them, but all noted. I think there was an element of moving at pace on this, so I think once Eddie had come up with a couple of designs, the trouble is with, as you'll see with the pole, they appear bigger than you're going to see them in the Emoji catalogue. But as Eddie and I found when we first introduced emojis, we tried doing a private test with them in, and it wouldn't let us do it. But don't worry, if it's not perfect today, we'll definitely do what we can to polish it up. It is a challenge. It's the same with badges as well. Everything that looks better, bigger, generally speaking, once you shrink it down, you lose some of the distinctiveness. But yeah, all good stuff. Thank you for that. I mean, I don't know if Eddie is discreetly in the chat, looking at the time of day, probably not. It may be something he's able to tinker with during his lunch. I don't know how he'll be fixed, or even if he's expecting to get much of a lunch. But yeah, thank you, that's ace feedback. I think when we've got more emojis at our disposal, we'll have a barking dogs emoji as well for the Edinburgh show. I always think there's obviously a popular dog walking route at the back of me. You get those moments where the dogs are clearly having a cracking time. Yeah, Soldier, I don't think, my friend, plain sailing aviation is going to be much use to you in your quest for work in Finland, although we're grateful you're with us in the show. Alright, thanks Alibi 58. Like I say, we'll do a debrief on it after the show. We'll get Eddie will pick up on all the comments anyway, because whatever we do, wherever we start with the emojis, if we have to alter things or even if we think of better ways of doing it, we'll do that. I don't think any of our emojis are set in stone in perpetuity. I mean, I don't want to sound cliche because I really mean it, and I know Eddie would. They're your emojis. We kind of create them to enhance your enjoyment of the show. So yeah, it's all good stuff. Just want another 4 or 5 to work with. That'd be a real treat. I mean, we've not got Ken on the show, have we, with his bottomless pit of emojis. And it's interesting. Until I got involved with the channel, I'll be honest. In and amongst the other things I've done, so I was a bit of an emojis dunce as well. I didn't tend to use emojis for much at all. But since I've discovered the joy and flexibility of emojis, it's a nice shot. They often see the Uniteds both this side. I don't think. I can hear an ATR strumming away. I think it might be the Logan Air 500 going somewhere. No, it's 42 500. Doris, I've just spotted your entry into the chat. Sorry I wasn't there sooner. How you doing, buddy? Funny, I was saying to Rainer, I was speculating that it would seem to do better for weather in Berlin than wherever I'm standing, as a rule, not always, but I was reflecting on the fact that weather, he's been on a good sequence, probably rivals Nicosia. Optimus Toaster, good morning to you. I hope you are keeping well. Welcome to Edinburgh International Airport. I'm Mark, the host of Plain Sailing Aviation. Going to be on air here till 11 o'clock, and then we're shooting off up to Aberdeen for a tea time show from 3 o'clock. So it's a pleasure to be in everybody's company today. Ooh, we're going to go short. Thank you so much, DB Bassman. I think it's one of those days at the minute where the sunshine is really making it... I'll be quiet. So I'm going to be relying on you all as a fab audience to keep me on the straight and narrow when it comes to finishing the show bang on the money. Being the fusspot I tend to be, I'm thinking, oh, I've never done the drive to Aberdeen, you know, all the kind of have I allowed enough time things. I think I have. Ah, you see, Rainer, you've had a good streak, mate. That's what it is. Maybe we've had a bit of a divert on the sunshine. Although it is starting to cloud up a bit. I'm guessing, let's have a think about my orientation here. I'm guessing you're seeing a little bit more cloud now, Alibi. More of the cotton wool variety, I think. Definitely it's going to go cloudy here, or the last forecast I looked at, but to be honest, that's fine. I think for the duration of the show, I think we're golden for sun to some extent, which is handy because unbelievably the fuss I make about putting sun cream on, I can't find my blinking sun cream. Colin Lees, how are we doing, my friend? Welcome back. And you are, you put your finger straight on it, Colin. I love it here. I was saying earlier on in the show, if I could sort of be a real full spot, I'd move this place 50 miles nearer to Northumberland, simply for the shortening the journey time. But the spot I'm standing on at the minute has to be one of my very favourite places to stand and watch planes from. River behind me, hills in front of me, good looking tower, reasonable number of planes on show usually. It's just peerless. I mean, I've got a little hot list of places which might be added to by Aberdeen later, because certainly having watched, I think Mac Aviation was streaming there last week, watched a bit of his streams, and you know, that looks a great place to be. Amsterdam Polderbarn, that was another favourite I've discovered on the show. The Mound at Dublin, for all our technical troubles, fantastic. I'm building this little inventory of places to go, or places I enjoy, but this has the real advantage of actually being, you know, I'm staying out today, but normally I'm there and back to Edinburgh in a day, and that's got to be a redeeming feature. Oh, Optimus Toaster, you're east-south-east of me at the minute, looking at the same Pentlands. Kudos, Optimus. Usually, when I'm standing on the embankment, there's somebody in the chat who's usually about 15 foot away, meters, I say meters, and I'll say, oh, where are you from? And they'll say, oh, 15 meters from you to the right. I mean, today that's not the situation. Audrey, hello Audrey McDonald, good morning to you. Thank you, Audrey. Foxy would be our dog emoji. You still made me smile, you know, when you said she got teeth like a pike, because of course with pups it's years since we had one, but like kids they have like baby teeth as well, don't they? Although there's nothing babyish about Pike's teeth, is there? Ooh. Oh dearie me, right. Why can't I see no planes moving anywhere? When I did my checks on continuity of action, I was expecting to see wall-to-wall activity. And therefore I am puzzled. Doesn't take much to puzzle me. Oh, it looks like I failed to update, I think I failed to update my Aberdeen traffic numbers, but the 2022 annual data set I did actually get for Scotland in the end. So 11.25 million handled in the year 2022, which made it the UK's 5th busiest. Oh yeah, I did use this on the last Edinburgh show, it's come back to me. So behind Heathrow, Gatwick, Manchester and Stansted. 2, 3, 4, yeah. Anyway, by the by. Of course, the tower, the iconic tower, for anyone new to Edinburgh, which a lot of you in the chat aren't, I appreciate. 57 metres high, opened in 2005, although it looks much more contemporary than that. 10 million quid. I'm guessing it cost more than 10 million quid to build now. Right, let's just rotate the camera and see what's... I'll sort of pull us in onto the parked up KLM for a couple of minutes, just to give us a alternative view. So the flight radar's gone dark up here in a minute. I can't see any. Oh, hang on a minute. We have an EasyJet Belfast in colour, departed 25 minutes ago. Deary me, I reckon if you said 25 minutes I couldn't be in Newbridge McDonald's much quicker than that. Bernard Kunz, how are you, my friend? From Germany. Ah, right, you're in Rainer's part of the world. What part of Germany are you on from Bernard? Audrey McDonald, you're invoking all kinds of memories of yesteryear for me. I mean, as you were saying, pups they're full on, aren't they? They are absolutely full on. Exciting stuff though. I think I can speak for those of us that know you through the chat, when you said you were going to be going and getting a new puppy. I think we've all been pulling for you. You've almost like, you're part of the show, and I mean that in a good way, not, but people genuinely cared. They were obviously very sad for you when you lost your dog, and it's always that, what's the best way forward? And there's a lot of excitement on your behalf, a lot of love and excitement. So Foxy, cult status. That's why I put Foxy's picture first on the community posts. It's a dog designed for fame, of the right kind. Oh, you are joking, DB Bassman. I've just seen your message. Oh, so that's a 7.6-400 that's coming in later. I thought it was going to be another 7.5. Oh, that's like a double whammy. You see, in any other sense, I'd be thinking, okay, what do we do here? Well, as folks know, if I've got electricity in my batteries, I'm always up for the overtime if it gives you the action you want to see. Rainer, what we got here? You still haven't seen my part of the world. Ask Alibi. That looks... Wait, I can't quite tell what those emojis are. It looks... Are they trees bending in the wind? Told you I'm still a relative novice with emojis, even if I have embraced them. It comes back to the point again, doesn't it, about emojis as they shrink down. Hee-ho. So I can see our incoming EasyJet is just starting to poke its nose over the Firth of Forth. So what I'm going to do, folks, with your kind indulgence, and I know it's not an enhancement to the show, but I'm just going to gently chew on a snack bar, if that's okay. What have we got in today's pack? This one's only 67 calories. Chocolate fudge, skinny crunch light, it says. Less than 70 calories. I think we established actually when Michelle Johnson was talking about some snacks she was having on Saturday's show, 147 calories or something like that. I think once you go much below that, I think the taste falls off a chart. Anyway, as the redeeming feature, it's here and in my hand. Thanks, Alibi. I've just got visual actually, just as I've looked at your post, so it's just hovering into view. So folks, stand by for incomer. An A320 that departed about half an hour ago. And I can see behind it, sorry Alibi, I'm getting excited, but you know I am not putting across your calling of the flight radar. Finnair, one of those other liveries that I love for its simplicity but just all round coolness. Looks like they are lining up behind as well. So a couple of arrivals, folks. There's the second of the two, the Finnair being an Embraer 190 long range, which, as I often say, is an attractive looking aircraft, the Embraers anyway, but with a Finnair livery, it's to die for, figuratively. So there's the thing. There's an EasyJet coming in behind that from Gatwick's a third in, which looks like a special livery, or certainly not the standard EasyJet livery. Anyone that's in Flight Radar, I'm interested in your thoughts. Maybe you've seen it before, I'm not sure. It just looks like an EasyJet logo. Whether it's some kind of wet lease or something and they've just put the minimum artwork on it. I'm all excitable now. Okay, right Alibi, sorry, Rainer, I'm on it. I'll have a look at that tonight, Rainer. Oh, hang on a minute. Leicester City playing Liverpool. I've got to find somewhere to watch that. Long suffering, well, I say long suffering, we've had a good run. But I will check that out between now and tomorrow's show. Sorry, Rainer. Having one of my dense moments, that's why I'm having a snack bar to get the old blood sugar up. So here we are, EasyJet first in a sequence of at least 3. So good morning to anybody that's just joined the show. Welcome to Edinburgh. You are in the company of Mark from Plain Sailing Aviation and all manner of good people in the chat. Neo to boot. Crikey, I can't believe it. It's 9 o'clock already. Alright, I think I'm just going to pull us back to the tower for a minute, give me a quick chance to drop eyes back onto the chat. Yeah, Optimus Toaster, it is an interesting livery by, I mean, EasyJet. I think I've seen one of those, is it Europe car or something on the side of one of their planes, and I'm guessing they have the other old one, but this just looks like a white plane with a small EasyJet shape on it. That's why I wondered if it was some kind of wet lease and they just put the minimum branding on it. Edinburgh Aviation, good morning to you. DB Bassman, for a minute I looked, when you said 1%, I'm thinking, hang on a minute, my battery, but of course you wouldn't know what my batteries are doing. It's the terror. Anyway, mate, good luck with that one. Hope to catch you later, or sooner. Thank you, Ali. Bye. Got us lined up for this Embraer. In fact, I suppose I better get on it now, hadn't I? It'd be criminal not to capture the full arrival of this Embraer 190 long range from Helsinki in the understated but gorgeous Finnair livery. And we think we've got an unusual EasyJet livery pursuing this one in from Gatwick. Talking about how nice the Finnair livery looks on the Embraer, what do you reckon, folks, on the A350? Don't they have one with the Moomins on or something? But even without the Moomins on a big canvas like that, sublime. I'm just going to leave the camera at this end with your indulgence so we can track back with it while we await the EasyJet arrival. That's twinkling on the horizon now. Yeah, Edinburgh Aviation. The return of Haynan's going to be a goodie. Not quite sure off the top of my head what we are doing date-wise on that one. If we can cover it, depending on whether it's the right time for a show and all that malarkey, we intend to. Kind of rude not to, isn't it, really? John Hughes. I am absolutely going great guns actually, my friend. Thanks for asking. I hope you are likewise. Always in my element down at the airport. Weather adding to that. Although I was talking about how warm it was earlier, it's definitely just peaked, I think, temperature wise. I'm going to wager somewhere around 10 degrees or something like. Wind has just picked up a tad, but it's otherwise a peach of a day for plane spotting. Anyway, I hope you're all good, my friend. Welcome back to the show. We'll stay with this thin air in Brer a bit longer. Just trying to get the balancing act where we cut away. Oh, I struggle sometimes to prioritise when there's too many things I like to see. So you can hear the wind picking up a little bit. The show, they talk about gusts, I think around 14 miles an hour, did I say? 14 miles an hour, 14 knots. But there was no appreciable gusts. Now they are just picking up gently. So this is the EasyJet arrival from Gatwick with what we think is an unusual livery, assuming it's not been repainted since its flight radar picture was posted. So folks, I just snapped one off there. You'd have got a momentary pause. I'll probably take another one just for luck when it comes by. Yeah, it's as per the flight radar pic. Be interesting what the history. Crikey, sorry, that's me knocking the tripod. Whether this is a lease or whether EasyJet have plans to do something different on livery. Can't see them going down that path. Henry, hello Henry, how you doing? Are you Henry, the Henry that I met at Newcastle on Saturday, or a different Henry? Just keeping me straight, I'm always curious. Anyway, welcome to Plain Sailing Aviation, Henry. You are tracking with a bit of a different EasyJet. Yeah, it's not. I'll tell you what we can do actually, Alibi. I'm just going to take the next landing and I'm going to tweak the sound slightly. So just bear with me, folks. Thanks for the heads up, mate, because I am flying blind on sound. I think because the wind's kind of blowing across my position, that's the worst kind of noise interruption. So we have a Ryanair on finals. I'm assuming this is a Shark, certainly a 7.3. I'll just dash off a picture of this EasyJet once it gets in front of the tower, so your screen will freeze momentarily. Very good. Alright folks, I'm just going to look at the sound settings, just bear with me. I've just dialed things down a little bit, Alibi. It won't eradicate the wind, can't do that, but I'm hoping it will take some of the windiness off the sound. Just going to, as we track from one EasyJet to another. Bristol A320. Let's see how we're doing. Yeah, Edinburgh Aviation, all due respect mate, please don't plug your own channel in my chat, and I mean that kindly, because I would like to be supportive with other aviation channels, but appreciated mate if you could give due respect on that one. Morning.
Morning.
How you doing?
Alright, yeah.
Can't complain, not while it's like this.
Alright, did you see EasyJet's just gone down there?
Yeah,
right above it, ready to come in.
Yeah.
No, that's insane.
I think this one's going to get to go first by the look of it. Alexandra Wood, good morning to you, Alexandra. Hope Monday finds you in good fettle. Right, here's the question then folks, because I've dialed the sound down to kind of compensate for the wind. So John says I've gone quiet. Is that me needing to speak up a bit more, or do I need to boost the sound up a bit more? You'll take a bit more wind noise, unfortunately. Take a steer on that, as I always do. Good morning, Planecaster. How are you doing, my friend? Yeah, I'll pull it up a bit once we've got the when we've got the Stansted flight in. Let's just take care of this. As soon as we've popped it down, I will try to boost up the sound a bit more, trying to find that sweet spot. Kind of weird, you know, since I've adjusted it, it's not quite as gusty. Anyway, how you doing, Danny? Danny at Planecaster. I've got time very quickly, I think, just to tweak the sound up. Bear with me. There we go. We'll see how that goes. Let's get on this EasyJet to Bristol. Alexandra, the wind is just, it wasn't a feature when we opened, and it's picked up, but it's not, I don't think it'll get stronger than it is. It's just, you know, when the wind's running across your microphone rather than at it, it's one of those kind of days. So I've got the shotgun mic off at the minute because it was picking up the electronic noise off the radio mast behind me. To be fair, it wouldn't have enjoyed the wind blowing across it much either. Could be a fastest scooting taxi of the day so far, although I fancy KLM to strip a little bit more off the time. Oh, I'm just slowing down now, of course. Caught it out of the corner of my eye, I thought I was going great guns. Let's just get on to the next arrival. This is one of those one in, one out moments. Inbound Heathrow A320, and lined up, well not lined up, waiting to line up, is an outgoing Heathrow A320. Perfect synchronicity from British Airways. So anyone that's joined us recently, show finishes at 11 because we're heading up to Aberdeen, and then we're going to restart at 3 o'clock. So hopefully people will be able to join us for both. Just going up to the parking lot while we await the British Airways lining up. In fact, it is lining up now, so 2 minutes. I love that shot, so I keep saying planes and trains. Yeah, Danny, Planecaster, I am in the pink, buddy, in the pink. Thanks, Alexandra. I'll look out for the Aer Lingus. I can just see it twinkling in the background. Key there. Right, we'll just hold off going to the next arrival. It's still a little bit out. Ryan, thanks for feedback, mate. As I say, once I've swapped this hardware encoder with Wex Photographic, I'll be able to hear my own sound outputs. It's taken quite a long time to work through between them and the manufacturer. Now I've just got to sort out the date of exchange, which they kind of they emailed me on Saturday, late Saturday, to say you've got 3 days to, you know, arrange something. So I've given them my preferences, as I'll cover on tomorrow's show in more detail, and members already know what's happening, as you might expect. Obviously after today's show we are back, we think we're going to be back here tomorrow. We've got a members poll running on here versus Glasgow, but whichever way that goes is where we'll turn up. And at the weekend we have an overseas trip, which we'll be giving details out publicly, generally, if you will, on tomorrow's show. So do look out for that. We are overseas Saturday and Sunday, trying to bring you something different at Plain Sailing Aviation. So hopefully that will meet your approval. See how the wind catches this. Like I say, it's not particularly windy, but if anything's going to be skittish, it'll be the ATR. Chance to give those turbo prop emojis a twirl. Going to rest us there. We might as well trap back with that because the next plane that's on final approach is still a little bit out. Alexandra, you're there. You've got that much rotation going there. You could take off yourself. Tony McCall at this end in the pink, my friend. Glad to see the score runs all been boxed off. Good stuff. Hopefully you'll be able to catch some of the Aberdeen stream in and around the school run as well. But yeah, well done mate, mission accomplished, or one of your missions. Anyway, how are you today? Edinburgh Aviation calls EasyJet A320 Neo from Birmingham next in. Thank you Edinburgh Aviation, I can see it, so I think we might peel away. Although, what else can I hear? I can hear a Logan Air ATR 72, so we'll park there for 10 seconds or so. Off to Kirkwall. Right, here we go. That's the other nice thing about Edinburgh, and I guess it'll be a feature almost certainly at Aberdeen, is we do get a nice mix of turboprop action. We had quite a good day, I think, for the size of airport at Newcastle on Saturday. Just mixes it up a bit. Should be able to have a little bit of everything here. Let's just have a bit of this for the moment. The 72. And a bit of that. In terms of the 42. Money's on this going out short actually. Let's see. Thanks Alexandra Wood. EasyJet to Paris. Charles de Gaulle pinging for departure. I'm guessing that's, let's have a quick look on flight radar. It's probably the one I can see in the foreground. I think there's a few on the far side of the terminal. I won't say a few, probably two. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's the one. Keep up with this plane. Yeah, coming out short, I think. Is he? No, let's just see. No. Yes, no, maybe. Yes, is a yes. Prepare for action. No hurry there, is there? Oh, and KLM are pushing back, I see with my eye. Yeah, loving that emoji action, folks. So keep up, Mark, keep up. So as this EasyJet comes in, I think oh, this can't be the Charles de Gaulle. They're deboarding it. So the Paris Charles de Gaulle must be on the far side of the terminal on that calculation. That brings into play our KLM. Lovely jubbly. Although curiously, this isn't well, she's not showing us transponding on my flight radar, quirky as it is. Yeah, no, it's the same for you, Alexandra, as well. That is interesting. You forgot to switch your transponder on. Yeah, judicious moment to say, if you like what you see, please do hit the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed, we'd love to have you with us. And of course, if you have done those things anyway, thank you so much. It makes such a difference to us for YouTube. If you are attracted by the idea of looking at other ways of supporting plain sailing aviation and what we do, there is a membership offer. If you go onto the YouTube About page for the Plain Sailing Aviation channel, there are details on there, and there's the little dollar sign that appears below the chat. You can click on that. It tells you what you get in the 2 membership levels, and if that's right for you, we'd love to have you with us. But as in all of these things, you just watching today, you're supporting us. Everything north of that is, you know, is a bonus, so thank you. Ali Bye, get that kettle on, mate. Oh, Tony McCall, I've just seen your post. Man, what are the odds? The 7.5 in the 100-year independence livery. Oh, dearie, dearie me. I love that plane. I mean, we've not been frequent visitors yet to Glasgow, but we've done 2 shows there so far, I think so. But they've both been 737 MAX 9s, if I remember correctly. Not that they weren't nice to see. I think they're the only places I've seen on the Northern Circuit with the MAX 9, but off the top of my head. But it was nice anyway. But the 7.5 in the 100-year livery. Oh. Mind you, saying that, when we looked at how to put the up journey to Aberdeen together, I figured if we had, not that I would have had the foresight to know what was coming from Icelandair at the time, but we kind of figured we're trying to get to Aberdeen and find where to park the car, and just, you know, the first time you do anything somewhere, what you don't know is the bits that make you anxious, so to speak. It made sense to stop here anyway, and, you know, other than the absence of 757s in 100-year liveries, it's been a gorgeous show so far. But man, yeah. So let's have a look. So Alexandra Wood just confirming we have a Ryanair 737 from Paris, 8 minutes out, and a EasyJet from Gatwick, 12 minutes out. Roger that, Alexandra. Colin Lees, thank you so much for your kind support, my friend. Thank you for joining us, and look forward to catching you next time out. Do have a good day, buddy. I kind of wonder if this, sorry about the swift panning, but I want to, I'm wondering if that is holding for the KLM's gate, because the apron in front of me looks probably not totally full, but looks pretty full. Anyway, conjecture away, Mark, it makes no difference. We'll go where it goes. Let's go with our KLM, as the pilot gets to feel where the metal is. I would say sunshine days are made for KLM's livery, because I'm always waxing lyrical, but they still look good on a grotty day as well. That's a pretty unique trick. I'd imagine that is just going to go, what we've got here. Dean Barrett, welcome aboard to Plain Sailing Aviation, Dean. I've just seen you've joined us as an aviator class member. Dean, absolutely ace, my friend. Big smile on Mark's face, I can tell you. In fact, he's a bit of a Dean. Yeah, thanks, Dean. It's fantastic to have you with us, my friend. Awesome support. Going to enjoy every bit of it. What are we thinking, folks? Turn and burn? Certainly, isn't it? Still no room at the inn, although it's now got the nod to move forward, so let's just see. Right, let's have a look. Bernard Kuntz tells us that Delta Airlines 76 from JFK estimated 9:31. Cool. Well, that's warmed the soul down at trackside, Bernard. Ooh, plane's moved. Yeah, I think that's going to the gate that the KLM plane vacated, although it's been parked a long time. So maybe that's not the case. I've got one eye peeled on the horizon. That is really interesting, Alexandra, isn't it? It's still not pinging. Ah, pinging. I'm catching up. It's like setting off to the shops in a rush and realising you've not plunked your seatbelt in or something, isn't it, really? Yeah, I better put the transponder on. Probably frowned upon if I don't. Do you know, I can't believe we've been on air 2 hours already. Time just beetles past. It's just sublime. It's such a great group of people to spend time with. It's just, yeah, fantastic. So this is the Birmingham EasyJet that's sort of taken a slow boat to China in terms of reaching its gate. I hope nobody was in too much of a rush. I'm just smiling to myself looking at a maybe I'm just behind the curve here. This returning flight to London City. Where are we? There. No, London Heathrow. With the A321, won't it? Oh, no, it's not. What am I talking about, Mark? It is the Embraer going to London City. Ignore me. I'm very ignorable. Anyway, it's NA to NA at the minute on my flight radar. That's celebrated of locations. Ali by 58. Well, A, welcome back, mate, and B, staggered. You're a great friend to the channel and you've gifted a membership. And there you go. I was going to do the drum roll thing actually, but not quick enough by a long chalk mark. Ali Bai, thank you, my friend, and welcome, Doris. You are now a member of Plain Sailing Aviation. Great to have you with us, buddy. Oh, hang on a minute. Bernard, right. Pronounced burnt. Bernard, sorry, I thought that was an abbreviation. As others will know, I'm generally pretty lame at getting pronunciation right on coach. Burnt. It's like Rainer and Reiner. I do get there in the end. I'm not as hapless as I tend to appear at times, but yeah, sorry about that, Ben. And Audrey, thanks for keeping me spot on. We'll show some contrition by scoffing this cereal bar, I think. Oh dear. Barrett, loving the stream, man. It's your local Edinburgh. What time am I streaming till? 11 o'clock. Your wife is the cabin manager on the Easy to Tenerife. Sorry, I can't do for you there, Dean. I'd have loved to. It's nice when there's a personal touch to it. We are going to be at Aberdeen, hopefully actually live on air by then. However, now you're a member, you'll be able to, when you can see us listed, if you know that your wife is going to be on a plane that's going to fall within the parameters of the show, do let us know in the chat. We had one of our viewers, Bez54, on Saturday, whose daughter was returning from Milan on a Ryanair flight. And it's just nice when you're filming something and there's a connection with someone that's watching the show. Anyway, it's 767 time, folks. Hold on tight. Our incoming Delta 767. Oh, I do love a Delta. Chance to give that heavy emoji a twirl, members. I think when we get to the point we can have enough emojis, it would be nice to break them down. 777, 76s, 75s and all that, 78s. Of course the gargantuan 380. What a belter. Just going to loiter us there. I know we've got another incomer tucked in behind. I think this the one behind being a Ryanair from, I think Ken says, isn't the real Paris airport. Beauvais or Beauvais. So, tell you what, let's go with the British Airways Fest in the short term. So the A321 on its way back to Heathrow and the Embraer 190. Let's just keep you in the picture. A bit glary now, so I'm kind of looking at myself in the viewfinder. Oh, not a great sight. And that one off to London City. And let's get some planes and trains action for you. Keeping it on the money. I can give you the trains actually. I think they've just whipped through. So let's just stay with the Ryanair arrival. Should be able to get from this back to the 767 before it actually gets level with the tower. So So Ryanair 737. Not sure which variant off the top of my head. Splash of smoke. Cut away shortly to the departing Embraer 190 that's off to London City. Give us some maximum basking time with this beautiful 767. Welcome to anyone that's recently joined the show. I'm Mark, the host from Plain Sailing Aviation. Welcome to Edinburgh International on air till 11 o'clock this morning, not this evening for the points of doubt. Aberdeen later from 3. And as always, that gentle prompt, if you like what you see, please do give us the like, and also we'd love to have you with us as a subscriber. It neither cost you anything, and really do help us with YouTube and the dreaded algorithm. Overbasked. Okay, got a bit more Delta. Can't have too much of a good thing. Just about to pan to the next arrival. Coming flight from Gatwick. That's a bit of a treat. It is, it's parking up in our line of sight. Just catching up the chat. Thank you, Rainer. Getting that one, definitely. There's Donaldson. I hope you're still on your break, mate. Sorry I've just picked you up. How are you doing, Les? Martin Batchelor, welcome back to Plain Sailing Aviation. I hope Monday's treating you well so far. Looks like the morning's under control now, doesn't it? I've got your name now, so thanks to Audrey. Thank you. That's a Norwegian 737 in the Alexis Heavy livery. Now, I'm sort of trying to expand my horizons. Is that the Finnish author, Alexis? I think it is, isn't it? We may have seen that plane on a previous show. I've become quite interested in their tail fins. I think it might be Finland's national author. Check me out. Until I got involved with this live streaming and so forth, I would not have known that. And I might still be wrong. I don't think I am. Just catching up, Danny from Planecaster. I'm guessing you're talking the plane we're looking at on screen at the minute. You're right. It's timeless. Timeless. So I'm just keeping a bit of an eye on the A321 that is off to Heathrow imminently. Good morning, Alan T. Welcome back to the channel, mate. I hope you are good this Monday morning. Right, we've got like a little, the equivalent of rush hour mid-morning. So we've got one coming off the apron. We've got one waiting to go on, presumably. One EasyJet parked behind. Parking's at a premium. Let's go to British Airways. I'm assuming this will be a turn and burn. The sun glints. Just want a train to come streaking across the background now. Just set that off a treat. Have you got that sound, folks? The birds scaring, quacking. Looks like the parking log jam has eased. See a Ryanair 737, I think that's the one that's bound to Poitiers, if I've said it correctly. Odds are probably not, but there you go. It's a jolly good try, well, in my head anyway. Poitiers. Looks like the actor, Sidney Poitier. And the train I was after has just gone rumbling past. I'll stay with this EasyJet for the minute, because the Ryanair, although lining up, isn't going to be pressing any buttons just yet. Mad Matt, I've probably heard it ping through. I'll have a look later, mate. I'm all sort of plugged in at the minute. Let's just check so I can confirm I've received it. Let's have a look. Yeah, I've got it, my friend. I'll have a look later once I get my feet up. In fact, Eddie will probably pick that up. So crikey, keep up, Mark. Meantime, Happy Days. Always torn between that one, between the song Happy Days Are Here Again. Notice I didn't attempt to sing it, I just walked my way through that. Or Happy Days as in the Tea Time kids type show from yesteryear with the Fonz. But when I saw the United Newark flight push back, it brought a smile, as I hope it has to everybody. Good morning, Forbes. I've just seen your entry into the chat. I hope you are keeping well, Forbes. Alright, that's interesting, Les. So I'm just going to peel off that for a minute. So, where the Edinburgh sign? Do you mean as in, get my eyes in, somewhere around about here for the spectating bit? Was it like a rooftopy thing, or are we talking about a sign that I'm not looking at? I do wish, I know we talk about this on streams, but I do wish that UK airports would just embrace the spotting experience a little bit more enthusiastically. I know we can keep talking about security and all this malarkey, but anyone that's been to Amsterdam Schiphol will know that, I'm looking here, barbed wire fences and all the rest of it, whereas my favourite spot for my one and only trip so far to the Polder Barn, other than a bit of a canal in front of me, there's no fencing at all. And that's a major international airport, so you kind of feel there's got to be a bit of a, I don't know, I think Manchester have tried to go that route with the RVP, but I think there's scope to do a little bit more, bit of elevated mounds, if you will, but with some refreshments. Yeah, Tony, I'm heartbroken by that one. The 7.5 from Washington. As you say, only 4 hours late. I mean, what's 4 hours? Mind you, I know Ken won't mind me saying it, so Ken's got visitors over from Canada at the minute, and their Delta flight was significantly delayed to the point that they were routed through Schiphol, and from Schiphol to Glasgow, so it was untold hours overdue, and they ended up, they were scheduled to arrive into Glasgow around 11 o'clock at night, which was way north of what the original plan was. I'm just going to bring this round. No laughing matter. So we are looking incoming at an Embraer 190 standard from London City. Well, you will be when I get the camera pointed correctly. When I'm in this position, I'm kind of 90 degrees to being able to look at the chat screen, so occasionally you find that's why it lapses out of shot. It's not me having wandered off to sit down on a deck chair. Didn't bother bringing a chair today, although I don't often bring a chair anyway. I had one for Saturday's show because I figured I might need it at some point. Didn't work that way either. I thought for a moment we were tilting up towards the tail strike. Clearly we weren't, it was just that initial steepness. Oh, and right on cue. You can just hear that sound, hopefully, of the 757 United Airlines 757-200 on its way back to New York. Or Newark, to be more precise. Bernd Kunz, thank you very much, my friend. 98 likes, which obviously brings all that excitement that comes with nice round numbers and Mark's fixation with the 100. Anybody out there in chat land who can bring up the 100, well, bring a smile to this old geezer's face. Only if you like what you're seeing, of course. I wouldn't want you to like it if you don't like it. But hopefully the fact you're with us means that you're enjoying the company you're in. Got this belter to go out shortly. pretty serene, eh? I think the only thing that's going to feel unusual about today's show is we normally get the Dreamliner, don't we? The Qatar Airways Dreamliner, we usually finale with. We'll definitely have it in tomorrow's show if the vote brings us here. Which I think is where it was pointing last I looked. Yeah, Alibi 58, since you alerted me to the fact there's a Freddie Mercury tail fin, I think that was the moment where I realised, up until then I hadn't paid them much heed, because I think I've got a record of saying that I think overall the Norwegian livery is pretty hideous in the way it kind of, you know, the way the Wizz ones I think look okay with the spliced livery, but the Norwegian one I'm not keen on. But since I've become aware of the tail fins, it's kind of like drawn me in for new interest, although I think the last couple of shows the incoming 737s have been plain on the tail fin. It's just a matter of time before we get Freddie Mercury here. I don't know how we do it. It's almost like we ought to coin a one-off emoji once we know that we've got the Freddie Mercury plane. Freddie Mercury as an emoji, but I don't even know how you'd start doing that, so probably best avoid it. Although it'd be quite entertaining to see the veins popping out of Eddie's head as he figures out how to do it. Oops, keeping up folks, sorry, I'm trying to pan and catch the chat. Alibi 58, 101, thank you one and all. Tilting my hat to you. Peak cap at the minute. It's just easy to tilt, and it's quite practical with the sun. But yeah, thank you everybody. That's a major milestone. Be absolutely fantastic if we could get to 150 by the end of this show. But regardless, it's anything north of 100 is just great. So thank you. Yeah, I think you're right, Tony and Mad Matt. I don't get it though. It's, you say seen as a sad hobby, but I suppose the trouble is we're all of a similar mind, aren't we, with this? But I think there are things out there that perhaps aren't pro-social in some way, shape or form, but plane spotting? Well, some people turning up to watch the planes or to take pictures of the planes. There's no crowd trouble, is there? I mean, all this stuff about if you touch the fence, the van will be on you in no time and stuff. Now, clearly, sensible spotters aren't touching the fence, but I don't know. I think somehow there's a lack of... That's what I'm after. A lack of nous, I'm going to say. I'm going to stick it out there and say, look, you know, you're not looking at this community. I don't know what we'd be as a market segment, but there's a lot of people love their plane spotting. I don't know about everybody in the chat, but I kind of think it's almost like been like a lifelong habit. Just got the rotation in. As I'm in the transatlantic mode, I'm just going to pop us onto this Delta for a second while I quickly check on the chat. Oh, Les, what? Freddie was here last week and we weren't? Outrageous. We're going to catch him. He's the big fish for us. Big fish. EasyJet, Alexandra says, for Paris Charles de Gaulle, pinging for departure. I've got that line of sight. It's on its way out. Turkish Airlines in and about 9. That'll be the A321. Freddie was in on Wednesday. There's things. Love USA, welcome to the show, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Oh, and Vislandia's completed the tax return. Excellent. Messy, I'm not having any of that. I bet it's a masterclass. Bet that's a weight off your mind. I know when I was saying I've only done the one self-assessment so far, but when it actually went in, it felt like I'd unaged by about 3 years. So our Paris EasyJet is just lining up, so I'll get us all tucked up and ready. So welcome to the show, anyone that's recently joined us. Welcome to Edinburgh Airport. I'm Mark, your host for Plain Sailing Aviation. Fantastic to be in your company this Monday morning. Hope it's kind to you, whatever you're doing, wherever you are in the world. Alibi, yes, it is indeed a kind of magic. Oh man, I'm having to suppress my attempt to howl at that one. I can hear it in my head as well. It's a kind of magic. Oh, sorry Eddie, I am forbidden to make any kind of howling noises during the show, but Eddie's at work and possibly not surreptitiously in the show, so there you go. Stoffel Bell. Good morning to you, Stoffel. I don't think I've said hi to you this morning. I have previously, of course. Hope all is good with you. Charles de Gaulle. So, as always, one in, one out with EasyJet, or not always, but frequently. Stoffel, I'm not sure, if I'm honest. I'm not being coy either, because it's my local patch really. So, ordinarily I would have said Saturday or Sunday this weekend, but as will be revealed on tomorrow's show, we're going to be on an away trip overseas Saturday and Sunday, so we'll be obviously not able to do Newcastle. I was half-minded towards potentially doing a show on Thursday or Friday if I've got a piece of equipment that I might be forced to change before the overseas trip, and if that happens we'll do a little test show from Newcastle Thursday or Friday, because the one thing I'm not doing is taking a piece of equipment and test it, even if it's brand new, overseas, and discovering that when I try to use it live it's not performing as it should. Other than that, I would suggest probably the middle of next week will be our next Newcastle show. But as always, as long as you've hit the notification bell, we always put out a community post, so you'll always know what we're up to when we know it. Sorry if that's a little bit vague, because obviously I've not done the public announcement on the overseas trip, but that's the lay of the land as it stands. Les, enjoy the rest of your day, my friend, and do take care, and thanks for taking your break, spending your break with us. That is really appreciated. First rate, pal. As Rainer says, do not overwork yourself, because remember, you are on the run down to retirement. Boy, did I love that feeling. Oh, and I'm reassured to see your comment to Rainer as well. You've got the matter in hand, you're telling us. Oh man. So next in with our Turkish Airlines A321. If we're streaming on your day of retirement, we'll call it the Les Donaldson Retirement Show, dedicated to Les, and hopefully a long life of leisure thereafter. Alright, so I'm just going to leave us on the Delta for the moment because it gives me a chance to quickly look, see the chat. What I've got here. Stoffel Bell, thank you my friend. Yep, confirming we have a Turkish Airlines Airbus A321 Neo, 1 year old. Tail Tango Charlie Lima Tango Kilo. Good stuff. I mean, if it had been the 777 that is theoretically listed the day before, I'd have been off the chart with excitement, but you know, I like to see the Turkish Airlines livery on anything, to be honest. Discussing airlines, weren't we, folks, on the Saturday show? The Chewy Dreamliner, Mrs. Patmore, was looking a bit shabby, and the general idea that a number of the other Chewy planes tend to look a bit dull. Stop talking for the landing. Whereas the vast majority of airlines, whether you like their liveries or not, tend to look pretty mint, don't they? Especially in the sun. You know, if you think about your typical high street when you're looking at whatever buses service the routes in your town centre, and buses always, and I get why, roads are roads, you know, and all the crud that you get, but I don't know, a dirty bus is a commonplace sight, and you know, a dirty looking plane on the outside, a comparatively rare one. And alright, they've not got all that rubbish that kicks off the roads, but they get a lot of moisture on them, don't they? Anyway, that's my random thought of the day. I thought they did have some triples, Tony. I mean, I defer to you because you'll know exactly what you're talking about there. I always think it's funny that it appears. I always assume it's just though if they've not shifted enough tickets, they just go down to something a bit smaller. But I thought they had triples. Because they do have, and this is again off the top of my head, more fun when I've stood down at Myrtle Avenue, and I think if you go on Flight Radar, they've got. They do operate, I think, a fair diversity of types, if I remember correctly. Not quite into the Lufthansa type space. But, anyway, by the by, that would make it even odder then, wouldn't it? Why would you be tilting that you're offering up a triple when you ain't got them? It's a bit like the Dreamliner here, the Qatari Dreamliner. Occasionally, because I've seen it once here, they put a 350, I think it's the 350 I've seen the once. And even then they changed the runway on me 10 minutes or so before it came in, so I didn't quite get to see it as I wanted. In that context, bigger is better, I think. I suppose that's the difference, isn't it? When you largely film at regional airports, you don't get to see the biggies too often. Right, let's catch all. Thank you, Alexander Woods. So the Finnair to Helsinki now pinging for departure. I will keep my watchful eye on that. We're going to pan to the Turkish Airlines. I think it's moving at a decent clip. Might even be a bit in front of KLM on the old. Find it. There you go. I'd say pretty classy. I think it's going to turn in here as well. Nice if it did. And I can see the fin air now pushing back, so all good, folks. Got some continuity of action here at Edinburgh Airport, so all good. Crikey, we're into the last hour of the show. Remember, team, you've got to keep me straight. If I'm still here on air at 12 o'clock, boy am I in trouble. I promised you all an Aberdeen excursion, and an Aberdeen excursion is what you're going to get. Oh dear. Ah, thanks Tony for confirming. Stay with the picture, Mark. Stay with the picture. Did we get a Turkish 330 when we did that evening show here? I think we did. Those of you who may have been veterans of that evening, I know Alibi, I think you might have been Tony. I've got a feeling we managed to get set up and we caught the departure of the Turkish Airlines A330. It was just like finding a £20 note in an old suit. You see, in this cashless age, that's a pleasure that ain't there anymore, is it? People increasingly don't use cash. I can remember many years ago going into a supermarket and finding a nice flat, a very flat £20 note. It almost felt like a Bulls win. See a Logan Air, Scotland's finest on the move, folks. I bet we can't get any transponding on it. But there we go. Let's have this. I'll rely on the chap potentially to tell us where this is going. I think this is their first Embraer 145 of the show. Looks like a long run up not going to be needed, wherever this one's heading. Laugh as you might, I nearly toppled over there. What the hell was going on? Tell you what, there's a car zooming along in the foreground. Saying earlier on about the fuel the Need for Speed did run the ops team. All that tarmac to drive across. You see, the windsock has definitely started to unfurl itself. So here's our departing Embraer 190 long range off for Helsinki. Oh, thanks Alexandra Wood, I've just seen your comment, sorry I had to sync, so that was a Southampton departing plane. Welcome back, Doris. Tony, yeah. I don't think I'll be doing that one. Out of curiosity, for those of you who know this part of the world, Tony, Alibi and others, you can hear a ATR strumming away in the background. You can probably hear it too. Oh, there we go, Dublin. Thank you, Alexandra. Journey from here to Aberdeen, is it one of those that's known to be a bit bottlenecky as a rule, or is it just fine once you get up above that central beltway kind of zone? You can see my head starting to tip, can't you, now? In the final hour of the show, I'm thinking, okay, how fast will I be able to pull all this kit down? Not that I'm not enjoying myself. Right, the reverse. So we'll stay with the fin air. While we await our Norwegian 737. Bearing down on us at a fair rate. Get a bit of a train in the background. Let's just see if I can get it. There you go. Maybe just. So we'll let that go for the minute. Give you the ATR that's bound for Dublin. Looks like he's got a hold, so let's go for Norwegian then. I can hear choices. Ooh, shuttle draft. We'll stay there for a little bit longer and back for our fin air. Looks like that EasyJet with the fancy, well, I say fancy, different livery is also out. On its way back to Gatwick, but let's stay with fin air for the moment. Oh, hang on a minute. Nearly a telescope award, Alibi. The ATR came out short. There goes the Jolly Green Giant's lawnmower. Good morning. All parked up, ready for our Finnair return to Helsinki. Thanks, Alibi. 3 hours. Yeah, I got the auto route. I thought it was about 2.5, but I thought that must assume everything's going to be in your favour. And let's be honest, middle of the day, it's never that, is it? So I think I'm on the right kind of time envelope. Thinking being I can get there, park up, lunch. Miss Landy, I was saying to political bias and Alibi actually started the show. I was doing a full day at Aberdeen. definitely taken the train. I think that would have been a smart move actually. You can enjoy the scenery and relax. Anyway, let's just get the Southampton Loganair down on the deck. It's a bit like if I was to go Glasgow from here. Obviously now I've got a little bit of experience of it. I appreciate what you who live around here all know well enough, that the M8's not to be underestimated. To be fair, that's the other good thing about the show. It kind of broadens my horizons, getting out and getting to grips with these kind of logistical issues. A bit like the overseas trip at the weekend. I've become much better at packing things into small bags. To be fair, I'd have to get better. Thanks DB Bassman, cheerfully noted as well. Tony Craig, good morning to you Tony, and welcome back to Plain Sailing Aviation. How are you doing, buddy? Doris has got 33 degrees at the moment. Hell's bells, 33. Probably too hot to stream, I'm guessing, because the haze would probably not be great. I don't think the kit likes being out in those kind of temperatures. Although I suppose you just have to acquire a little parasol for the hardware. We'll go to the EasyJet Gatwick flight in a minute. I'm just going to tank along. Yeah, so Tony says same as well as DB Bassman. So Dundee looks like my pinch point. Cripes, I'm not keeping up, am I? So we're going to peel off this in a minute. It's Ryanair bound for Knock. Right, let's peel off now. I feel this Gatwick plane is about to start. Apologies folks, it's a little bit hot on the butt. So a procession of 3 to go out. Heathrow next, I think. Nice leisurely turn there. Alexandra, I'll have my eye on the horizon for the nonce. Ryanair arrival, 11 minutes out. Good morning, Tony Rivers, how are you? Hope Monday is proving to be a decent day for you. Stoffel Bell, Ryanair from Berlin. Your part of the world, Ryanair, 6 minutes out. Oh, come on, Mark. I should be in the chat with you guys, really, shouldn't I? Get Eddie here on the camera. Jam at the far end of the runway. Runway 24 today is easing. Bristol next out. EasyJet. I'm just chortling to myself. Tony Craig's comment about the full livery, which I'm guessing is the EasyJet that went off to Gatwick. Alexandra Wood, arrivals, Ryanair Berlin 4 minutes. US Marine Corps still got 4 minutes. What, coming here? I'm definitely up for that. Hope you're not teasing me now, are you? It's not just an overfly. Gee. I've already got one of those giddy moments where I've had too much sherbet dib dab. Used to love sherbet dib dabs as a kid, but it used to kind of, I think it used to send me a bit hyperactive, all the sugar in it. Sherbet dib dabs. Eee. There's a lot of people turned up here suddenly, so I'm now thinking the Marine Corps thing could be a life buy. I just got all erratic on that panning, on that shot. Sorry folks, mine's racing now. Is that the magic of plane spotting? You're always hoping for something, aren't you? You like what you see, but there's always something else. Something different every day. So let's pick up the Ryanair Berlin arrival. Yeah, so the Marine Corps plane, I think will give us a chance to give the props emoji a twirl out. There we go, next out 2 knock, and then I would imagine I'll have visual on the Marine Corps aircraft. Dopey Gorp, good morning to you, my friend. How goes it, bud? Yeah, no worries, pal. I know how it is. You've got the working data service and you've got a lot on. I appreciate that. Which motorway service station are you favouring? I was thinking the one at, well, it's an A1, isn't it? I think the A1, one at Wetherby, I reckon, is pretty much peerless. Most of them just seem so not great. So yeah, where are you, mate? And is it a good one? User review. Anyway, time to see his departure to knock. A few spotters turned up now, so it must be the Marine Corps plane that is the honeypot. Interesting, Alexandra Wood. Flight calibration services Diamond DA62 pinging off to that popular and no doubt very sunny airport, NA. I'll keep my eye on that horizon. It's starting to shimmer a bit with haze over the far side. I can see the Marine Corps plane, so I'll stay a bit focused in the right direction, folks. How are we doing on likes, team? Obviously, mine's frozen on 15. Random thing that. Sam Thirdaway, good morning, Sam. Sorry if I missed your entry into the chat. I hope you are keeping well. Christ, I nearly missed that. Wonder what they're here for. Fuel? Meeting? I don't know. I'm just going to leave the camera parked at the right direction so we can pick it up on the way back up. 120, thank you so much, Alibi. So always, folks, that urge, if we can get to 150 by the end of the show, half an hour versus 30 more likes. If we do it, fabulous. If we don't, well, we'll still have a good day out. But anyone that's yet to commit on the likes that fancies giving us a boost, you would be warmly welcomed. And similarly, if you are yet undecided on subscribing. Second leg of today's Scottish tour is going to be from Aberdeen at 3 o'clock, so there's a chance to go and get some other stuff done and hopefully enjoy us for what should be an interesting tea time show. Definitely like a dog with two tails on that one. Weather's it was a little bit shaky when I checked this morning. I'm just going to peel us off in a second. Right, we'll pick that one back up hopefully, because it's going to have to run all the way across the front of us anyway. As we pick up this Ryanair 737 from Nantes. stretching around a bit, trying to see where the Marine Corps plane is. Obviously, with it sitting low, it won't be an easy spot in those colours, not with all that lush green grass filling the horizon. Oh, hi Lewis, I've just seen standing nearby, so I'm looking to my right, looking to my left. Hi Lewis. Thumbs up. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4 other people spotting here. Nice to meet you, my friend. Just catching up, as you'll have deduced from the chat. Doris confirms an ATR from Belfast 4 minutes out. Standing by, and as Ali reminds us, these big flies have suddenly come out of somewhere. Ooh, Alexandra Wood, Delta back to JFK, now pinging for departure. We really couldn't leave that plane here, could we? It'd break my heart if that went out late. Right, where's my blooming Marine Corps plane? Sorry, I just realised I'm... Tell you what, let's go all the way around to our Delta. So we've got this beauty departing shortly, which will be nice. Oh, David Palfreyman, top man, hitting that like button, warmly appreciated. Feels a shame to finish at 11 really, don't it? However, it will all come out in the wash. So that ATR from Belfast, still can't see it, Doris. Oh, I can now. So next incoming action, a bit of turbo prop for you. Chance to give the Emoji a spin. So Stoffel Bell confirms a 9-year-old plane. Echo India Golf Zulu Victor. Right, I think I better pan around in a jiffy. Oh, bit of photo bombing going off there. Down in front, quite a few planes transponding on the deck. The EasyJet that cut across shot on its way to Stansted. Can't beat a little baby bus, can you? So let's just have, oh, no time, just how we like it. The wind seems to have dropped, you know, and the sun just suddenly starts to feel like it felt early show. Lovely. Oh, I'm too good to know where that Marine Corps plane went. Didn't go straight back up again or something, did it? Oh, hang on. Was that it there, I say? No, that's the flight calibration services DA62. Anyway, let's concentrate on the Stansted Express as we delve into the last half hour of the show. What we got? 24 minutes. Where has the time gone? looking at all those emojis. Doris, Alexandra, Rainer, Alibi. There's enough to get us off the deck there. Talking of getting off the deck. Still got one eye on the Delta. I know there's this thing that says, look, you know, what you wish for don't always happen, but I think, what if it doesn't go by 11 o'clock, I'm thinking to myself. Do I devote 5 minutes to chasing it, 10 minutes? It's a tricky one. Faint heart will nothing. However, thanks Alexandra, the EasyJet to Amsterdam pushing back. I'm just taking me off the ball momentarily, just casting my eye about. Guessing it's going to come out from behind the Delta in due course. The far side of the terminal. Alibi, I'm overnighting Edinburgh tonight as it goes. Political bias put me onto a place which would have suited to a T, but I couldn't get a blooming ensuite, and chap like yours truly, up and down like the proverbial in the night. So I'm at Holiday Inn Express in the end, which is where I had got a room before political bias put me straight. Courtesy of my bro. So it's all kind of worked out in the end in a back to front way. But yeah, Aberdeen. Just got to find somewhere that's showing Sky Football. Bound to be somewhere, isn't there, down near the airport. I mean, I could always catch it on digital radio, Leicester Liverpool, but if I can get the big screen, I'm going to have a piece of that. Yeah, Alexandra, I think that'd be too far north for us, or south. Yeah, let's say too far north for us, the Eurowings. It's a shame. I did check this morning though, because I thought with that kind of thing, what if it was a special livery one? They've got 2 or 3, haven't they? Europa Park is the one that sticks in my head. You know, where's the cutting line on this? I think let's tell you what we'll do. Let's just move back to the Delta for the moment. That Marine Corps plane didn't come back, did it? Over there. So it got by me without me seeing it. Cut the phone controls out. Gas and go. Yeah. Ah, right, roger that. So I did record some of that. The Marine Corps plane that did manage to sneak past me is a gas and go, so it's here for a refuel. And then onwards to its next bit. Here's the EasyJet to Amsterdam, folks. So there's no danger of this one missing the cut-off of the show. Thanks, Alexandra. That gives us the possibility potentially of an earlier finish, doesn't it? The Delta would be a fantastic finale plane, no question. So 11 o'clock could work quite well for us as a natural jump-off point, couldn't it? Oops. This would be that Marine Corps plane that's the gas and go, I think, or is it the DA? 62. I'm going to say it's the VA62 looking at that colour scheme. This is the turboprop twang. Is this that aviation calibration services or something a bit like that? Tell you what has dawned on me, the sky's filling up with cloud now, isn't it? Right, where's our Amsterdam plane? Ah, she blows. Where we're getting to with the likes count. So yes, Alibi, that'd be fantastic if we can tip the 150. And you've got your square sausage to go out in 20 minutes. I love it when we can line it all up. David Palfreyman, Tony Craig, Ryanair, giving it plenty of emoji. David double emoji. The old turboprops really giving a twirl. Way to finish. And we've got two. Let's go. It's just coming to shot now. I was watching it out of shot. The Embraer 190 on its way to London City Airport. So, I would say thank you very much everybody for your company. We're not closing the show just yet, but we will go dead on 11 o'clock. So, thank you so much for awesome support. We'll close it down in the right way before we go, but I just wanted to say it in advance just to give it due emphasis. We get some fantastic support, and trust me, it is massively appreciated. Excellent, Alexandra. I just did a comment about the Delta pushing back. Well done, Delta, is what I say. Well done, Edinburgh Airport as well. Oh, well done, my camcorder battery. It's telling me I'm down to the last 30 minutes, and we don't need 30 minutes. So by the time we get to Edinburgh, hopefully this will be pretty much... Well, Edinburgh, I'm in Edinburgh, aren't I? Get with it, Mark. Get to Aberdeen. It'll be fully charged. DA62 that went a few minutes ago. It's just flying parallel with the runway behind me and peeling away northwards. Sorry?
Tomorrow. Due back out.
Oh, I'll be fine. After this one.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that'll tell the show anyway. That'll be good. Thank you so much.
No problem.
So the chap who's standing next to me has just advised me the Marine Corps plane won't be going out till 11:45, so it is here just for fuel. But unless it's going to drop in on us at Aberdeen, looks like we'll miss the departure on that one, which is a shame, but hey ho. This is fairly leisurely, isn't it? Ryanair, I've just seen you are exiting. Catch you later, buddy. Make sure you do all of the things I can see in your emoji stream. Some beers, some coffee, and back to the planes. And I can't quite work the other ones out because I'm a bit green on emojis. But listen, awesome support, mate. Thank you so much as well for your kind super chat. Always like to thank people at the close end of the show, but if you're leaving now, thank you, Ryanair. You're a great friend to the channel, and hope to see you in Aberdeen. Well, it kind of feels almost like the calm before the storm all of a sudden, because this Embraer seems to be in no rush to go anywhere. There's nothing coming in, as Alexandra was saying. It's incoming now. We're all done for the show. The Delta, if it has pushed back, hasn't moved far. Hang on, I'm just going to pan to that because it looks to me like I can see the door open. Which I jolly well hope I can't. Of course, have I got the wrong Delta? That was the other question. I may have the wrong Delta. That would be nice if I have. Ah, here we go. Whew, that was a relief. Look at that nice little Delta fusion thing going on. Heart was in mouth for a minute there, folks. So I'll tell you what we'll do then. Where are we? 10:47. I think if, with your agreement, unless there's anything else not lined up, we'll stay for the Embraer, which is now inching forward. We'll stay with Delta for the minute. Do this, close the show with a finale that a big plane like this merits. I mean, let's be honest, it's a great feeling when you can close out on a heavy. Yeah, Tony Craig. Yeah, and I am such a relief, Tony. Yeah, that's one of those moments I'm entirely pointing to the wrong thing. You know what it is? If it hadn't started moving, I'd been sort of like fidgeting. You know, how many more minutes do you give it? And that sound tells you that this plane is moving. Very good. So we'll call this plane the last plane of the show. Yeah, I'll be putting my plane of the show on this one. Further looking forward to the sound of it gunning up. Yeah, lots of plane of the day emojis I see out the corner of my eye. No rushing here, is there? Can't wait till we can add Hainan Airways Airlines. Can't remember which way they are. Airlines, aren't they? I think. Air Canada, WestJet to the list of flights. Major rush to line up. No runway inspection that I can see happening. Can hear a helicopter somewhere behind me. It's going to cut across the airspace, so Airport Wings, just seen your entry into the chat. You've just literally caught the final plane of the show, but it's great to be in your company. So, hope you're doing okay today. We are back on air from 3 o'clock if you're able to join us, having moved further north to Aberdeen. Chrislandia, thank you very much. stay with the action. Smashing, and I think we've peaked judiciously. See if I'm, there we go. How you all doing? A good moment to bring the show to a close. So just checking there's nothing else I'm missing. So Alexandria, yeah, with the Turkish pinging, it's kind of tempting, but I'd probably think I'm better on the road soonest. Make sure that it's better for me to be early in Aberdeen. If I am, I will start up the stream earlier, by the way, folks. If there's something moving around, just to give you the action. So thanks for some awesome support. A special thanks to Alibi58 and Alexandra Wood for their superb modding of the show, and of course for others as well who've pitched in around, Mad Map for example, and others. You all know who you are. It's been great. It's another good day at Edinburgh. The weather's been fine. Planes have been here. Some nice heavy action. Nice to finish with the Delta. Particular shout out, as I was saying earlier, Rainer, I know, has exited the show, but a long-term friend of the channel. Dean Barrett, who's joined us as an Aviator class member. Welcome, Dean, and I hope you'll enjoy being with us. Alibi58, another long-term friend of the channel, very kindly donating a membership. And Doris Petsus, our Nicosia branch of Plain Sailing Aviation, being the lucky recipient. So it's been a good day, all ends up. I've discovered that Bernard is burnt, so that's another name I'm adding to my repertoire of better pronounced iterations. Anyway, I'm going to be skedaddling now, trying to pack this up at pace. See you at 3 o'clock in Aberdeen for our tea time show, hopefully. On air till 7. Looking good, team. See you later.